Hey buddy, watch this.
Hello, hello, Regis Kilbin is the name, and Hearthstone is the game, and welcome to my latest Decksperiment. Decksperiments, of course, are where I take a suggestion or some crazy idea and try to build a competitively viable deck out of that suggestion right here on the spot, and then take that deck out onto the ranked ladder and see how it performs. Perhaps it performs well and we build a new archetype and play a really fun deck. Perhaps it tanks and we learn a lesson either way about crafting a deck and thinking about card synergies and what works together and how to build a deck from scratch. So I had a suggestion from a subscriber to build a deck based on a card called Deathwing Dragonlord. This is a 10 mana, 12/12 of course, and it has a death rattle. Put all dragons from your hand into the battlefield. So when I see Deathwing Dragonlord, I think about a couple different things. Obviously, it's a 10 mana card, so it clearly needs a deck that can survive until turn 10 and play a 10 mana card and still have enough health and resiliency to live through that turn and take advantage of the effect. It's also a dragon outright, so there are some clear dragon synergy potentials. And the death rattle even doubles down on that dragon synergy as well. So I was trying to think about ways to benefit from a dragon that is played for free. So for instance, Ysera is a pretty nice benefit if she's played for free. She's hard to remove, she'll draw you a card, that's pretty neat. Chromaggus, on the other hand, is even better because this card, when it's played for free, you essentially have an entire turn and 10 mana to draw cards and double down on the value of Chromaggus' card draw effect. So you've got a lot of time and resources, whereas normally you play Chromaggus, you only have 2 mana to figure something out. With Deathwing Dragonlord's effect, you'd have an entire 10 mana turn to take advantage of Chromaggus' effect. But there was one other card I think even more than those really benefits from being played for free, and that's Malygos. If you get Malygos out for free and have an entire 10 mana turn to use it, oh man, you get so much spell damage you can kill people in one turn. So I started thinking about a deck that had some dragon synergies and control tendencies, and Paladin was the class that first came to mind. But then I realized Paladins don't really have a lot of ways to use Malygos. They have essentially Hammer of Wrath or Consecration, but they're very expensive spells with low payoff. But then I started thinking about Priest, and Priest actually has a couple different spells, like Holy Smite and Mind Blast, to be specific, which can do lots of damage for very little mana if you get Malygos out for free. So for instance, you could double Mind Blast, double Holy Smite for, I think it's 34 damage with Malygos on the board. And Priest, of course, has dragon synergies and very powerful tendencies to survive until the late game. So that said, I am going to build in this Decksperiment a Deathwing Malygos Priest, or perhaps we'll just call it a Dragonlord Priest. Dragonlord Malygos Priest sounds pretty good for a name. Apparently we lost our title. Dragonlord Malygos Priest. We're done. We don't want to finish automatically. So now that we know what our deck looks like, let's go ahead and definitely add in Deathwing first. Specifically Deathwing Dragonlord, not the original Deathwing. I don't think this one will be played. We also know we want Malygos because that's going to be the core finishing piece for our deck. Essentially, we want to survive long enough to draw for sure our Holy Smites and our Mind Blasts and be able to kill our opponent in one turn after Deathwing has died and we've pulled Malygos onto the board for free. Now, of course, that won't always be the win condition. Sometimes with control decks, you just exhaust your opponents and get lots of big minions out, and you win by hitting their face with a 12/12 Deathwing. That is also a very possible outcome, and we're going to be fine with that. But Malygos is our backup, essentially. So that said, we know we want some big dragons, big scary dragons like Chromaggus. We don't want dragons like Alexstrasza because her battlecry will be lost to Deathwing, and it won't benefit us all that much. But let's see what other dragons we can add to this deck that we know for sure we'd like to have. I actually think Chill Maw's a pretty good fit just because this will be a defensive deck, so a big taunt that can also clear a board is quite valuable. I like Chill Maw a lot. Nozdorma we don't like Nefarian's a possibility, but again, he has a battle cry, so he's not that great with Deathwing. Ysera certainly fits, but I'm a little concerned we might already be getting too many dragons that are this big. So let's go take a look at lower cost dragons. Volcanic Drake I don't think is powerful enough at 4 health to really make the difference, because there's potential tempo swing upsides with Volcanic Drake, but we don't care about that much. Draconid Crusher's kind of the same thing. Scaled Nightmare is a new card with Old Gods, which certainly sounds like it could have some potential, just because if we keep it alive, it gets very, very scary very quickly, and if you play it for free, maybe that will start to accelerate even faster, but I still think it's just a little too light. Blackwing Corruptor we definitely want, because it has great dragon synergies, and being able to do 3 damage with the battle cry is fantastic when you're trying to stabilize the board and recover from early deficits. So this can react to your opponent's board and establish a body at the same time, so we like that. Azure Drake's a fantastic card, and we do need card draw as well. And spell damage never hurts, because we are going to have some spells. So there might be those instances where 2 6-damage Mind Blasts is enough to win us the game, and who cares about Malygos? So that's pretty good, because we also want card draw to get to these core finisher pieces as well. As far as 4-drops are concerned, Twilight Guardian seems like it'd be pretty good, just because we still do need some defensive pieces, and Twilight Guardian, I know in the past, has been a very key component to Dragon Priest decks that are trying to survive for a long time. So we'll go ahead and pull in the Twilight Guardian as well. When it comes to 3-drops, Blackwing Technician is fantastic. It's just a huge body, and we're very likely to have dragons out on the board to guarantee that large body. None of the neutral 1-drops make any sense. Let's go ahead and look at Priest Dragon Synergy cards. Wormrest Agent's fantastic. Another just early taunt that has a very valuable body for its cost. Twilight Whelp is a possibility, but we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 dragons. I'm just a little hesitant to put a 1-drop in this deck, because we have a lot of stuff in the late game, and I'm concerned that we'll draw into a Twilight Whelp on turn 20 and it will just totally die in our hand. So let's hold off on this for now. Let's see what other pieces of the deck we know we want for sure. So we need card draw, so Northshire Cleric makes tons of sense, as does Power Word Shield. Both very reliable card draw options. We also know we want our Holy Smites and our Mind Blasts, because those are our finisher pieces with Malygos. Did we skip anything else here, though? I don't believe so. We may want a Circle of Healing just to keep our Taunt alive and to combo with our Northshire Clerics, but I haven't yet decided. I think we probably will, because we probably also want Auchenai Soul Priest, just for the Auchenai Soul Priest Circle of Healing area of effect combo clear. I know that we also need for sure 2 Entombs, just to remove giant threats from our opponent. And Holy Fire might be an option. It's 6 mana, it's only going to do 10 damage with Malygos. So we probably don't actually need that necessarily. I think probably a Holy Nova works, but maybe an Excavated Evil is even better, because we care a little bit less. No, actually Holy Nova is better, because it does damage to the enemy hero, so we could potentially use it with Malygos. But we're already at 28 out of 30 cards, so if we add 2 Holy Novas, do we feel like we're missing anything really important to the deck? None of these cards for Priest seem that important. A Shadow Word Death certainly seems like it could be very, very valuable. Now, granted, Dragon Priest typically is less about removal and more about establishing an early board with cards like Wormrest and Blackwing, and just kind of playing on curve. So maybe we just drop the Auchenai Soul Priest in the Circle of Healing combo and move in the Death just for specific big threat removals, and hopefully we just keep up early by playing our own minions and occasionally tossing out the Holy Smite to save the day. Our curve here is clearly very light on turn 4. We look good in the early game. A lot of 1-drops to generate value. Remember, we do have 4 dead cards essentially with Holy Smite and Mind Blast, because we don't want to play those. So a lot of those 1-drops are really kind of late game pieces. So it's not like we have 6 1-drops or 4 2-drops. It's really more like 4 and 2. respectively. I mean, Cabal Shadow Priest could make some sense. Just to give us another body on curve and generate late game value. But I'm a little bit worried about card draw. We right now only have Northshire Clerics and Azure Drakes, and it's very important to make sure we get through all of these cards before we get to Deathwing. You know, we have to make sure everything is there. Are there any neutral cards that would help us? Acolyte of Pain is a card draw card, but of course, typically you'd run that with a Wild Pyromancer to ensure some extra card draw, but we don't have room for the Wild Pyros and the Acolyte of Pain. Chromagus will theoretically get us extra card draw, but it doesn't work that way. It's not digging into our it's not digging into our deck deeper. It's just generating additional resources. So maybe we don't care about Chromagus, but I think we still need just the body. I think we're going to drop Chromagus. Because really, we're not trying to get like 5 dragons out with Deathwing. We want to get Malygos out. If we happen to get an Azure Drake or whatever too, that's a bonus, but we really just care about getting Malygos out. So we don't necessarily need a ton of big dragons. Part of me is curious if we shouldn't run a Bronzebeard. It works really well with Blackwing Corruptor, it works well with Azure Drake, it works well with Twilight Guardian, it works well with Blackwing and Wormrest. Certainly a consideration. I'm not sold on it yet, though. So what other pieces might we need? We have hard removal, we have threats, we have defensive mechanisms, we have some card draw, but still not enough card draw. I mean, we could add in like Loot Hoarders. A Blood Mage Thalnos actually is not crazy just because spell damage again. We could stack spell damage a little more. Harrison Jones actually makes a little bit of sense just to deny big weapons and occasionally draw a card. Just kind of as a counter piece. We could also consider Emperor Thaurissan just as another minion that's good. Because getting out Deathwing a turn sooner, even if we don't ever get our Deathwing, if we got an 8-mana Malygos into a Mind Blast or something, that's really big damage. So Emperor Thaurissan could definitely have some value. We're really light on 4-drops, it looks like. We have 2 Twilight Guardians, but that's it. We could also do Dragonkins. They're quite good with Power Word Shield, but that's the only buff we have in our deck. We definitely don't care about Cthulhu. Elise Starseeker, we don't really necessarily want or need. Hungry Dragon's probably more punishing than it is helpful. Midnight Drake is more aggressive than defensive, and we need defensive pieces. Twilight Drakes are probably not the worst idea, but this deck doesn't necessarily have a lot of cards at turn 4, because we're going to be playing Northshire Clerics and Wormrests and stuff, so I think the health there is not going to make it worthwhile. What does Priest have for 4-drops? So you could still go with the Akanais. Holy Champions probably aren't that helpful. Shifting Shade. This might actually work okay. Could occasionally get us a big threat or some extra damage spell. It's just a 4-mana minion that's also kind of a thought steal. I wonder if that doesn't help a little bit with our curve. We do have a lot of 5-drops, so maybe we lose a Holy Nova. No, we better not. Yeah, let's. Oh shoot, that's the wrong guy. Let's lose a Holy Nova. Take the Twilight Guardian back. The reason I'm willing to lose the AoE is simply because we have a lot of minions early, so I don't think we'll be too far behind on the board by the time we hit turn 5. With the Wormrest Agent, the Blackwing Tech, the Shifting Shade, I think we'll be okay. So I'm just thinking about maybe one more straight up card draw card. I don't think it's like a Loot Hoarder. Does Priest have anything else that would fit really nicely? You could throw back in the Twilight Whelps just to make sure we're good early, but I think that's overkill. I'm going to go ahead and add in the second Shifting Shade for now. Perhaps it's not the best fit. Maybe we should just get another good 6-drop like a Cabal Shadow Priest. But this is the Whispers of the Old Gods era, and we really don't have that many Old Gods cards in the deck right now. Just Deathwing and Shifting Shade. So we're kind of looking a bit like a BRM deck more than anything. Let's see if there's any other Old God cards that do fit the mentality of the deck here. Midnight Drake is one of the dragons. Ancient Harbinger actually makes a little bit of sense just to ensure that we get a Deathwing Dragonlord. But it does have the condition that it has to survive to the start of your turn, which I'm not entirely sure will happen. I don't think any of these cards really fit. Yaxaron's fun. It actually did just occur to me that... Are there any cards that flip attack and... I guess Inner Fire almost makes a little bit of sense, because our Malygos could become a 12/12 essentially, or even Crazed Alchemist, which is not a card you often see, but could fit. But I think this list is fine. The curve makes sense. We've got our dragons. We might be light 1 or 2 dragons essentially, just to ensure that the Wormrest and the Blackwing tech go off regularly. But it's very likely we'll draw into 1 late game dragon by the time we need to play those cards. So hopefully that's the case. I think I'll settle on this list for now. It's got a lot of different stuff, and Tomb will give us more late game threats too. So let's do it. This is our Dragonlord Malygos Priest, centered around Dragonlord, Deathwing Dragonlord, and Malygos synergies. So let's go ahead and take the Deathwing, Dragonlord Malygos Priest. Excuse me, that's a lot of words. Let's take it on to the ranked ladder. And of course, the season just reset, as you might be able to tell by my rank. So it's going to be competitive, actually, probably even at rank 18, I think we're at. And it's still pretty early in the Whispers of the Old Gods meta, so who knows. I don't think this is the real Silent Storm, who is a pro player, based on the lack of capitalization, but we'll see. We'll keep the Wormrest. I'm actually considering keeping the Azure Drake just to ensure that I have a dragon to activate the Wormrest. It's very likely we'll draw into some in-between cards. It's not necessarily that I think I need this on turn 5. But if we get the 2 out against Druid, that's usually pretty good. It won't contest the Beckoner, the Cthulhu Beckoner, but this is a little risky. He could coin Wrath and kill this. But if I get it behind the Wormrest Agent, I could maybe draw an extra card off the Wormrest Agent when I attack it into the Beckoner. Yeah, so it's at least alive for now. So I'm really curious how this deck's going to work out. I don't think it's necessarily good, but that's pretty annoying. Gotta be honest. So we're gonna go ahead and heal his guy just to draw a card, because we literally have no other way to use our hero power. We can't heal ourselves. I actually cost myself a damage there. I should have attacked it with this and then attacked his face with a 2/4. Just play it fast, not paying attention. But he should be at 27 right now. We just messed up. So these things are so annoying, right? That's a good card. I thought it was going to be good, and it's great. It always seems to get 2 procs off no matter what you do. No one is ever able to kill this right away on turn 3. I think I have to corrupt the 3/4 and trade. Wouldn't really do any good to knock the Divine Shield off. That one has the potential to generate more Cthulhu buffs. The Cthulhu's Chosen's out of buffs. Yeah, he gets a free trade, but I could even Holy Smite it perhaps, just to ensure that this lives, which would be worth it, right? Because this is 7 damage with Malygos. Eventually, if it keeps this alive, it would be 5 damage right now. So what's the difference, right? I may still do that just to preserve my Azure Drake. I have another dragon, so I don't need to keep the Azure Drake necessarily. He just used the Starfall. I think it's unlikely he has a way to kill this. He might swipe it, but even then he uses most of his turn. I could play the Chill Maul. I probably would anyway, even though I don't need... I'll take that. That's actually fine with me. I don't need the Chill Maul, so I'm going to go ahead and play the Azure Drake. There's nothing to taunt or kill with the effect, so there's really no advantage to playing it now. And we'll go ahead and finish up with the Worm Rest just for the body. That's definitely worth Shadow Word Deathing. Definitely worth Shadow Word Deathing. We'll follow up with the Blackwing just because Druid does not have great removal, and I think we're able to stack the board. We have 9 attack on board, 6 damage in hand. It's 15 damage. Oh, card draw. That's what we like. That's what we like. Nice. The pieces are coming together. Oh, half the pieces are here. Spectator showed up just in time. More card draw. Beautiful. We'll open with the card draw. Well, actually, he's got 31 health, so he's good to go for a while. He's good to go for a while. We'll split the buffs here. It doesn't really matter, I don't think, but... Ooh. A lot of pieces are falling into the puzzle. I'm going to go ahead and play the Harrison again just because I think he's going to have trouble removing it. Clearly, it's not going to get value off Druid because they don't have weapons. So, we'll just load up the board, and we may not even need Malygos. We have 12 damage in hand. Actually, we have 14 damage in hand right now. He's got a lot of answers. This almost feels like a mill Druid in some sense. I guess the buff did matter. I was not anticipating the Leroy. Oh, Thorison is a beautiful draw. I don't think we need more cards. I'm going to play this because I'm a little worried he's a mill Druid and he's going to mill me of cards. Oh man, how much do we have with Malygos right now? Just straight up 10 plus 7 is 17. We'll have lethal next turn if... Or no, 20. We have 20. Yeah, the game's over. He sees it. He sees it. He definitely sees it. So this is fun. Alright, boys. The Thorison was a good call. It was kind of a last-second addition in a sense, but wow, that's fun. We didn't even live the Deathwing dream, but we'd certainly lived the Malygos dream. So, I mean, admittedly, I think Druid is a fantastic matchup for Dragon Priest, just because they have trouble with removal. That said, he had a couple naturalizes, like he was burning through our stuff, the Starfall, so not the typical Druid matchup necessarily. But we had a good start. It worked out really nicely. We'll go ahead and toss back the Holy Smite since we do have the 2-drop in the Power Word Shield. I would even play this as a 1/4 perhaps, if we don't draw a dragon. Who knows what kind of rogue this is? Probably Death Rattle Rogue, if I had to guess. So we'll pass, no plays. Pretty easy pass. Ooh, that's a little unusual. Oh, that's a good hero power. That's scary. It's very scary, in fact. What? I think this is like an aggro. I think this is an aggro rogue. I don't have the dragon. I'm actually going to play the Northshire and Hero Power. It might be awkward for him. He has just 3 damage. He can't even weapon up. So it's going to be hard for him to do 5 damage. He could have like an Abusive Sergeant, I guess. Even a Eviscerate might be worth it, but I figured that this would survive. And perhaps initiate some card draw for me. We'll attack this one because we're going to heal the 2 anyway. We could have played the Worm Rest, but I wanted to make sure to get the card draw while I had it. That's an easy trade, but he's going to kill here. We might actually death that. Alternatively, we could Shifting Shade. We don't have a ton of heals. It makes me a little nervous to leave this stuff out. He's got 9 power out with 4 mana. I mean, there's a chance we take like 15 damage next turn. This is at least an awkward trade for him, so maybe we just go ahead and play this. We can Worm Rest Shadow Word Death next turn, but we could have Worm Rested Heal, but the Worm Rest just dies so easy to the 5/2. That's not awesome, I guess. We ate 4 damage with this guy. That was definitely worth. Super, super worth. And we'll do exactly what I said. We'll Worm Rest. Actually, we'll Worm Rest Holy Smite. And I'm almost considering playing this because if he trades, he'll each be at 1 health, and this is going to set up a kill and take 2 damage off the board and stay alive. Only problem is I don't get to heal myself right now. I'm going to do it, though. We can play Thaurissan next turn. Shame we didn't get like an Eviscerate or something out of him. He is running Twilight Summoner, so he does have a Death Rattle skew to this deck. It's just got some early game as well. Oh, that's a bad turn. Good. It's great for us. I could trade heal, Shifting Shade, and I think I might instead of playing the Thaurissan. The problem with the good thing about Thaurissan though is that it does set up a 10 damage combo pretty quickly. But he's still at 26, so does that help? Don't want to have to kind of generate more resources first. Plus, this is going to die off and not get any value. Or at the very least, it's going to set up some friction for him to decide which one he wants to kill. That's a good card, because I'll need to react to his board next turn. I might Blackwing heal myself. If this survives, maybe Blackwing heal it. I don't think he's as aggressive as I originally thought. Like, I thought he was just going to do a ton of damage. But since I've seen some more of the Death Rattle stuff, I think I have a little bit more time. I thought he was going to, like, pop me for 15, which was kind of scary. I may actually turn the corner on him and start hitting face. Like I said, I'm not that scared yet. Maybe I Thoris and go face. That's a weird one, I guess. I don't know. Ooh, yeah, that's a 20 damage combo on turn 10. But I can Thoris in next turn and also weave in the Hero Power, so I guess there's really no advantage to doing it now. And the reason I went face is because he's probably going to have to make that trade anyway. Or this trade, either one. So the closer I get him to 20, the faster I win with Malygos. Yeah, he's just building resources. I don't care about that at all. Go ahead. I'm going to start hitting your face. He's probably going to trade here and go face. I'm going to go face, Thaurissan, heal my own face. It's a pretty good card, actually. That probably buys us enough time to get to Malygos for sure. Oh, that's good. It makes our board a little worse, but he's still going to have to deal with this. Boom, boom. He might have the new rogue spell that it does 5 damage. That will hurt a little bit, but I think we have enough time to survive. Sap. I don't think that hurts me. I don't care about that. I just need 2 turns, and he's at 20 right now, so. He has 6, 7, 8 damage on board. Actually, by Thorson, I can do it. Well, I can do it next turn anyway. But I can just Thoris and Defender of Argus. There's like no way I'm dead, right? And I have tons of damage. As long as he doesn't play a heal here. That's fine. I don't think he has enough mana to kill me at this point. And he's probably worried about this guy a little bit. Don't care about that. He's dead. Cool.
Well played. The light protects me.
We have admittedly gotten a little bit lucky with our Malygos draws, but hey, that's what the deck's designed for, right? On the other side of that coin, we've got a little bit unlucky with our on-curve minions. Whereas our Blackwing Technicians, our Wormrest Agents, all that stuff hasn't been as smooth. So there's essentially 2 routes with this deck, right? You get the on-curve stuff, or you bail yourself out when you're almost dead with Malygos. And so far, it's been the latter as opposed to the former. I'd like to see if... We haven't even seen our Deathwing Dragonlord yet. But it seems our deck is okay regardless. These are both too slow despite being a 2-drop. These are great. Dragon to activate and the 2-drop. We may even coin it out if he plays like a Flame Imp or something and then just Powered Shield it next turn or heal it next turn. I probably won't coin it out if he doesn't play anything. Because then I can potentially coin out the Twilight Guardian. Because we do have the second dragon to activate the Twilight Guardian. So there's a chance he's going to kill our Wormrest Agent with like Abusive Sergeant or whatever. But at least we go a 2-drop for a 2-drop, right? If I drew like a 3-drop, I'd probably coin out the Power Word Shield here. And there's actually, if I coin it out now, there's a chance. I have 2 chances to draw the 3-drop still. I think I'm going to do it, because even if I don't draw the 3-drop, if he attacks, I can probably heal next turn and still get some semblance of value out of my turn 3. I mean, I got a 3-mana card, but probably not a good one on turn 3. It's not Shaman, so I don't think I'll need the Shadow Word Death this early. That was a mistake, yeah. Don't worry, I made one earlier, bro. Cost myself a damage, which actually could matter a lot in a Malygos game. This will work out just fine. We'll draw a card, protect this guy. He can kill it next turn, clearly. But we don't care. We'll have the Twilight Guardian next turn. And we'll get 3 minions for it. He can still double Abusive or something, get some good value, and kill our Northshire, which would be sad. But we've already gotten a card draw out of it. We're fine. That's actually kind of a pain for us. We don't have good AoE in this deck, really. If I was him, I probably would have attacked anyway. I don't know. He's letting me kill his wolf for free, essentially. We're also burying the Northshire behind taunt, so he has 6 total power on board with 10 taunt minion health. That's kind of good. I'll just Shadow Word Death that, I think. I don't really have to hurry or anything. And I can also Hero Power that way. Ah, 2 of them. Goodness gracious. That's a heck of a board out of nowhere, man. That is a heck of a board. Maybe I need the Blackwing, the Flame Imp. But then this doesn't get to do anything. Shadow Word Death, heal, trade. Kind of worried about developing another minion. I think I'm good on cards. I have the Chillmaws. Doesn't actually have a dragon though, so it's not going to help me that much as it stands. This is a bit of a tough turn for me. I'm a little bit worried about like sea giants and stuff, because clearly this is like a flood zoo. So I think I'm going to save the Shadow Word Death and use this to trade into one of these guys. We'll go ahead and sack this off just to... just to get more attack off the board. I think I have enough cards. He's going to be top decking all game. And hopefully playing cheap stuff and not sea giants. He gets a nice clean trade here. Maybe he does the work for me. I don't really care either way. I'll probably Shadow Word Death next turn with the Blackwing Tech if I have the mana. I don't know what he's sitting on up there. Well, that seems like an obvious play. I don't think he can get anything here that would help. Maybe Soulfire actually would be pretty good. Doubt it, Soulfire. He would have already used it. He can't kill this cleanly yet. Unless that's another Abusive Sergeant. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'd done that. I would have just waited a turn for that, I think. Can Blackwing, Shadow Word Death. I just have so much health though. I'm not sure I need to. I guess I do. I can protect this pretty well. It trades really nicely, in other words, into a ton of stuff. If I get the Sea Giant, I can always entomb it still, so... I can also chill Maw next turn if it's all little stuff, because I now have the Azure Drake to activate, so... That's perhaps okay as well. We still need our damage pieces, obviously. Cormac's pretty good. The Chill Maw doesn't really help me here. Because he can send 2/2/2 into it, and then I do 3 damage to this guy and kill this guy. That's really not that beneficial. I'm going to Azure Drake just to get some cards. And then probably just heal my face. I think I still have a little bit of time. I think we're going to reach a point where he life taps enough that I might just be able to kill him outright. But I need to recover the board here pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. Yeah, there's the Sea Giant we're worried about. That's 6 mana I have to invest. That's really rough. That's tough too. It's 10 damage. Oh, I almost hit the wrong one. Ooh. Haha, it used to be on the far right. Yeah, we're sitting on 6, 8, 10, 12. We're at 5 health. We may not have time. We might have been a little too slow. Chill Maw might save the day. Chill Maw hero power. He's going to be left with a 7 health. I don't think it saves the day. Does Twilight Guardian help at all? No. Yeah, I don't think this does it unless he really messes up his trades. Oh, but he'll actually only have 6, but it still doesn't do it. Yeah, he has 6 damage left. 7 with the Knife Juggler proc. That's kind of ridiculous. Alright. A little too slow for the zoo. A little too slow for the zoo. Certainly the Auchenai circle combo would have been pretty nice there. But we don't have it. So, gotta make sacrifices. Get the Malygos stuff off. So see, we basically had 2 dead Mind Blasts in our hand. If those have been Holy Smites, we might have been in a slightly better spot. We could have saved a couple of our taunts a little more efficiently. We'll keep the 2/3 here. Yeah, that's perfect. We'll keep the dragon just to make sure we got something going off. Tomb's a little too slow probably against this hunter, but if it's a death rattle hunter with like Savannah Hindmaidens and stuff, maybe not at all. We may coin out the worm rest in anticipation of the fiery bat if that's what happens. I'm sure it's coming down. It can definitely help to have the worm rest out first just because the hero power is so good on it. I don't usually recommend coining out 2 drops, but let's go ahead and do this one. We got the good follow-up anyway, so for sure it's a good play now. Plus we got the 3. So if we get the double worm rest into Blackwing, we're going to be in great shape. Oh, that's a little scary, right? The trade here could end up killing it. I think I'm still going to do it, just to get the beast off the board. It's a 1 in 3 chance. It's very unlikely. Good. There's a chance I'll hero power or power word shield instead of Blackwing next turn, but I just want to see what he does first. Play something with 3 health. Well, that's sort of good for him, but not really. He traded a 3 into a 2, and I've got a good follow-up, so... 4-drop wouldn't hurt. I can piece something together, but... Oh, perfect. We are playing beautifully on curve. This doesn't even need a dragon activator either, so... Curve doesn't get any better than this. That's probably freezing trap, right? Maybe bear trap? If it's freezing trap, I want to go this way. There's a chance this dies, of course, but I think, yeah, I didn't want this one to get froze, so I think I made the right decision there. We'll go ahead and heal here for the card draw. We'll go ahead and shield too, just to make our taunt a little healthier. We'll go ahead and... could be worried about Hunter's Mark, I guess. Could go with the Northshire instead, and I probably will. It's generally better to split buffs if you can. That way you're kind of splitting the value across 2 resources so that if they remove 1 resource, they don't also remove both of your buffs. They essentially just remove 1 of your buffs. We're in a good spot as far as curve goes, but we don't have any of our stuff. We literally still haven't even seen Deathwing yet. It's very frustrating when the whole deck is designed to take advantage of him. It's a decent Holy Nova, actually. Yeah, it's a pretty good Holy Nova. I don't think we're going to get a better Holy Nova than this. We get to double draw. We get to clear his board. That's about as good as play. Ah, there he is. There's the man. Ha ha ha! Look at that card. It's so cool. All right, so we get this guy out. We need our Malygos first, though. We need our Malygos first. I hope we get it, because I don't want to have to do videos all day trying to get 1 combo off. I think the combo is certain in fatigue-style matchups where you definitely go like all the way to the end of your deck, because you know you're going to eventually end up with Deathwing and Malygos in your hand. And between the Entombs, I think you do have enough ammunition to get that far, essentially. I think we only run 1 Holy Nova, right? Did we settle on 1 or did we end up with 2? I think we settled on 1. This deck's a little crazy. I kind of like it, but it's a little crazy. How many cards do I have in hand? I have 9 cards in hand, so we'll draw first. That was actually an error. We should have attacked this, because we're going to kill that anyway. That's not true necessarily, because our play may have changed based on our draw. We'll go this way here to minimize the damage on that. So yes, in the long run, we should have attacked the Leper Gnome. This would be a 3/7 instead of a 3/6. That's okay. We split the big guys, by the way, for explosive shots. And now the explosive shots, he has to kill this and do 2 to these, or kill this one and only do 2 to this. If we'd played it where one of these was in the middle, he could have done a lot more work. Oh, that's just not that good of a play in my mind. What does he do? Track in? I have Entombs, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and Shadow Word Death that. Right? Is there any reason not to? I'm not worried about, like... I'll go ahead and Holy Smite this. And then I'm going to draw cards now. I could have done it before the Holy Smite, technically, but otherwise I would have actually overdrawn a little bit. We'll just attack there and go face. We have 9 cards in hand. I have a couple of the Malygos pieces, but at this point I think we're going to just win the game regardless of the Malygos stuff. Actually, she's a little scary. Can't Hunter's Mark, though, so what's the... we'll just Entomb her, right? I can't even draw a card first because I'll overdraw. I'm at 10 cards in hand.
Right away.
I'm actually going to heal this one. I really don't need more cards. I'm going to play this. And that's not a misplay. I had to play it second, or I would have overdrawn. Or at least I would have put myself at 10 and eventually overdrawn. We can Entomb that too. I don't really care about that. Yeah, it's. I think he saw the writing on the wall there. Yeah. All right, so our deck's actually rolling along pretty nicely, but really just as a Dragon Priest, not as a Dragonlord Malygos Priest. I'm actually going to take a little bit of break from this deck. I may play a few more times in the future and put together a Deathwing Malygos turn as well, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so after playing this deck for a number of additional games, I still haven't actually pulled off the Deathwing Dragonlord into the Malygos, into the one-turn kill combo with Mind Blast and Holy Smite, so I think that's a pretty inconsistent combo, and I certainly can't recommend that Deathwing Dragonlord is a part of this deck, even though he was the foundation of the deck in the first place. That doesn't mean it's a bad card necessarily, but this deck is actually fine without Deathwing Dragonlord, and you might be better off with another dragon like Cro-Magus in its place. That said, this isn't exactly much of an Old Gods deck, but does feel like a decent Dragon Priest with some instant kill potential for Malygos. So the list is actually winning games, just not on the back of the combo as I designed it. So that said, I'd still recommend the Dragonlord Malygos. I think it was a successful Decksperiment, just not in the way that we anticipated. But if you have any questions about this deck, I'm happy to answer them. If you want to play it yourself, it's a lot of fun. It's a very expensive deck, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend crafting cards just to build this one. I'm not sure it's that competitively viable, but if you're having fun with it, maybe it's worth it anyway. So thanks so much for watching, and until next time with my next Decksperiment, game on.